Hello everyone. This is the continuation of the dermatology class. I'll be discussing about a topic called as dermatitis or eczema, what we otherwise call it as today. The contents that we'll be discussing today is what is eczema or dermatitis, how do we classify dermatitis, its two important types, that is irritant and allergic contact dermatitis, and how do we test them, and some of the dermatitis in brief, such as photodermatitis, hand eczema, atopic dermatitis, seborrheic dermatitis, stasis dermatitis, and how can we manage this. So, what is dermatosis? What is dermatitis? What is eczema? Dermatosis is any condition of the skin. It's not related to any specific condition. Any condition of the skin can be called as dermatosis. Dermatitis is inflammation of the skin. Whenever there is inflammation, we use dermatitis. Eczema means any inflammation of the skin which looks like very red, which is something like a boiling skin. That time we use the word eczema. So exe in Greek means to boil over. So definition of eczema is a type of dermatitis characterized by erythema, edema, papules, vesicles oozing in acute stage, crusting and scaling in subacute stage, and lichenification in chronic stage, and histologically characterized by spongiosis. All eczemas are dermatitis, but not all dermatitis are eczema. Wherever you find dermatitis, it need not have this appearance of red, oozing, vesicles and all. But whenever you use the word eczema, it's only the conditions which have this picture. So all eczemas are dermatitis, but not all dermatitis are eczema. So how do we classify this eczemas? We classify it as exogenous and endogenous eczemas. Exogenous are those which are caused by external factors, which are identifiable, whereas endogenous eczemas are those which are caused by internal cause or inherent property of the skin. Some type of eczema are precipitated by both external and internal. For example, is dry eczema, that is xerotic. So how do we classify exogenous and endogenous? What are exogenous eczema? Examples are irritant dermatitis, allergic contact dermatitis, photodermatitis. What are the examples of endogenous eczema? Atopic dermatitis, pityriasis alba, seborrheic dermatitis, nummular eczema or discoid eczema, hand eczema, asteatotic eczema, gravitational eczema, lichen simplex chronicus, and prurigo nodularis. So we have certain clinical stages for eczema, that is the inflammatory stage of eczema evolves in 3 stages: acute eczema, subacute eczema, and chronic eczema. The skin changes in each stage differ. In acute eczema, you see mainly intense itching, intense erythema, there will be edema, papules and vesicles will be seen, and fluid will be oozing through this lesions. Subacute eczema is a type of eczema where you see erythema, which is lesser than in acute stage, crusting and scaling, fissuring, slight to moderate itching, stinging and burning sensation. Chronic eczema is a condition in which you see dryness of the skin, excoriation, fissuring, lichenification. What is lichenification? Lichenification is a combination of thickening, hyperpigmentation, and increased skin marking. So, what are exogenous eczema? Exogenous eczemas are those caused by external factor. One of the common type is irritant contact dermatitis. Non-immunological inflammatory reaction of the skin due to an external agent. It has varied morphology and clinical types include symptomatic, subjective, irritant response. It's very symptomatic, which is again subjective. which is irritant response. Chemical burns, acute irritant contact dermatitis, chronic irritant contact dermatitis, and others. Chronic irritant contact dermatitis is very commonly seen in people who work in water and wet work, such as sweating under occlusion, household agents such as detergents, soaps, shampoos, and disinfectants, industrial cleaning agents such as solvents and abrasives, alkalis including cements and acids. People who come under contact with these substances can have chronic irritant dermatitis. Who are the person at risk? Obviously, it is housewives, dishwashers, bartenders, hairdressers, medical, dental, and veterinary personnel, food preparation, catering, and fishing industry workers, construction workers. Allergic contact dermatitis. Allergic contact dermatitis is something which is results due to a delayed type of hypersensitivity reaction following contact of the skin with allergen in a sensitized individual. It develops 12 to 48 hours after antigen exposure and persists for 3 to 4 weeks. So, allergic contact dermatitis has certain clinical features such as acute inflammation and chronic inflammatory stages. In acute inflammatory stages, you see well demarcated patches of erythema, edema, vesicles, and bullae, linear erosive and crusted lesions. In chronic inflammation, you see lichenification, scaling, or fissures. Clinical features depend on location, duration of contact with allergen, intensity of the inflammation, depends on degree of sensitivity, concentration of antigen. Intensity of inflammation, basically we see depending upon the exposure and concentration. So what are the common allergens that we come across? The common allergens that we come across are nickel and cobalt, which is there in artificial jewelry, chromium, which is there in cement and painting, potassium dichromate, which is there in leather and detergents, epoxy resins and phenols, which is there in plastics, parthenium, which is there in a plant, propylene glycol, which is there in cosmetics and medicaments, PPD, which is there in hair dyes, neomycin and gentamicin, which are topical. So these are certain examples. Allergic contact dermatitis to hair dye can cause a lot of reaction in the wherever they apply the hair dye. To the bindi can cause a lot of irritation in the area where the bindi was applied. You can see photos. The difference between allergic contact dermatitis and irritant contact dermatitis is dose dependent. It's only the irritant contact dermatitis. Higher the dose, higher the pattern. Allergic is not exactly like that. Prior sensitization is required for allergic contact dermatitis but not for ICD. Onset of exposure, it will be takes days. Allergic contact dermatitis takes at least 2 to 3 days, whereas irritant contact dermatitis happens within minutes to hours. Percentage of exposed developing reaction is very high, whereas its chances of reaction with ICD is less. Involvement of adaptive response, immunity, yes, it's involved, whereas it's not involved in ICD. Spread to non-exposed areas is very common in allergic contact dermatitis, not in the case of ICD. Pain and burning is more in allergic contact dermatitis. Itching is severe and early in ACD, whereas ICD it is stage. So how do we know what you're allergic to? We can do something called a patch test. It's a test to diagnose allergic contact dermatitis. The the potential allergen is applied to the skin under occlusion in a non-toxic concentration and kept on the skin for 48 to 72 hours. The person who is already sensitized will show irritation in the areas of certain allergens after 78 to 72 hours. So if you see, this is the photo. We apply the patches, wait for 3 days, and then on removing the patch, if you see certain reaction, then it is called as positive patch test. Photodermatitis. Photodermatitis is a type of dermatitis which is mainly related to exposure of skin to sunlight. Distribution typically on some light exposed areas of the skin. Types of reaction to sunlight is usually we have phototoxic reactions, photoallergic reactions, and eczematous polymorphic light therapy. Phototoxic reactions include certain agents exposure will cause development of lesions on exposure to sunlight. If, for example, if the skin is exposed to a certain kind of perfumes, on exposure to sunlight, the area where the perfume was applied will show features of dermatitis. Dyes, psoralen, stars, plants. Systemically, if you take psoralen, tetracycline, and phenothiazine, can have photoreaction. Photoallergic reaction is in the same way, but it sensitizes the individuals and then the reaction is seen. That is seen in topicals such as perfumes, sunscreens, neomycin, halogenated compounds, parthenium, whereas systemic certain drugs such as NSAIDs, phenothiazines, and thiazides. Photoallergic reactions are common in what is called as parthenium-induced photodermatitis. A type of hypersensitive reaction aggravated by sunlight, commonly seen in people who come across the pollen grains or other parts of Parthenium hysterophorus, often occurs in farmers, people living in the vicinity of the plants. PMLE, that is polymorphic light eruption, clinically characterized by intermittent, delayed, and transient abnormal cutaneous reaction to ultraviolet ray exposure. The reaction consists of non-scarring fluoritic erythematous papules, fascicles, or plaques on the light exposed areas of the skin. Fingertip eczema, which consists of chronic eczema of the palmar surface of the fingertips, which may involve one or all fingertips. The skin is dry, cracked, scaly, and may break down into painful and tender fissures. It's resistant to treatment and advise patients to avoid irritants, use of topical steroids, and maintain lubrication of the hand. Coming to endogenous, one of the most common endogenous and important endogenous eczema is atopic dermatitis. It's a chronic immune-mediated pruritic inflammatory skin condition seen in atopic individuals. It's usually an atopic triad, which consists of atopic dermatitis, asthma, and hay fever, that is allergic rhinitis. Atopic dermatitis is marked by alternating periods of remissions and flare-ups, a result of complex interplay between environmental, immunological, genetic, and pharmacological factors. It is aggravated by infection, psychological stress, seasonal changes, irritants, and allergens. Diagnosis: it cannot be precisely defined as it does not have specific skin changes, histological feature, or diagnostic laboratory test. The diagnosis is usually arrived on the basis of clinical finding comprising three or more major criteria and three or more minor criteria. The major criteria are pruritus, typical morphology and distribution, that is, facial and extensor involvement in infants and children, flexural lichenification in adults, chronic or relapsing dermatitis, and personal or family history of atopy. So, out of these four, three should be there. It's pruritus, typical morphology and distribution, facial and extensor involvement in infants and children, flexural involvement in adults. Other is chronic relapsing dermatitis and personal family history. Minor features are xerosis, ichthyosis, Palmer hyperlinearity or keratosis pilaris, immediate skin test reactivity, raised serum IgE, early onset of disease, tendency towards cutaneous infection, that is, they get infected easily, tendency towards non-specific dermatitis, hand or foot dermatitis, nipple eczema, cheilitis, recurrent conjunctivitis, denim open folds. These are all minor criteria. There are certain more minor criteria such as keratoconus, which is an ophthalmological finding, anterior subcapsular cataracts, orbital darkening, facial pallor or facial erythema, pityriasis alba, anterior neck folds, itch when sweating, intolerance to wool and lipid solvents, perifollicular accentuation, food intolerance, course influenced by environmental or emotional factors, white dermographism or delayed blanching. So how do you manage atopic dermatitis? Atopic dermatitis can be managed by different lines. The first line treatment includes um, identifying and controlling the flare factors. The topical treatments we commonly use are bathing, such as emollients and humectants. Then we use topical corticosteroids. Certain calcineurin inhibitors are also being used, such as pimecrolimus and tacrolimus, and ichthymol and tar. First line treatment also includes oral treatment such as antihistaminics, sedative antihistaminics are preferred, such as hydroxyzine, and antibiotics are given, and systemic steroids. Management of atopic dermatitis, second line is intensive topical treatment, step up the potency of the steroids, wet wrap technique, allergic management, food inhalants, and third line is giving more stronger medicines, either phototherapy or oral immunosuppressant, such as cyclosporine, azathioprine, thymopentine, and alpha interferon. Desensitization is also important. Seborrheic dermatitis. What is seborrheic dermatitis? Seborrheic dermatitis is what we commonly call more severe form of dandruff, a common chronic inflammatory papilloscomous disease which characteristically involves areas rich in sebaceous glands with high sebum production and body folds. Lesions favor scalp, ears, face, sutures, and intertriginous areas. Lesions compromise erythema, greasy and scaly papules, and red coalescing plaques leading to eczematous changes. Two forms are there, that is infantile and adult forms. Etiology of seborrheic dermatitis is not very clear, but one of the fungal etiology is Pittosporum ovale, which defective cell-mediated immune response to this organism causes increased ovale in the scalp, Pittosporum ovale in scalp, leading to dandruff and scaling. Overactive sebaceous glands with overproduction of sebum or altered sebaceous composition is also one of the. So in infants, you can see seborrheic dermatitis as cradle cap, that is commonly affects first 3 months of life, rare after 6 months of age. Affects the vertex, that is cortex and frontal areas, cradle cap area, diaper area, face, and retroauricular folds, neck and axilla. Lesions comprise of tiny papules covered with yellow greasy scales and redness in the diaper area. Clinical features is in adults it affects hairy areas, mostly men. Scalp is the earliest area. Earlier sign is dandruff, later followed by greasy scales and retroauricular fissuring. Inflammation and itching are associated with dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis. Face, scaling and erythema of the forehead, medial portion of eyebrows, eyelids, nasolabial folds, lateral part of the nose and retroauricular regions. Trunk, papules, greasy scales, petaloid pattern. Flexural areas you see erythema, greasy scaling and secondary infection. Seborrheic dermatitis, this is the clinical picture. So how do you manage? You loosen and remove the scales by shampoos and keratolytic agents. Inhibit the colonization of yeast, that is Pittosporum oil, by giving an antifungal agent. Reduction of itching and redness by by antihistaminics, and then educate the patient about chronic recurrent nature of the. You can give medicated shampoos which contain selenium sulfide or ketoconazole, cycloperoxylamine, tar and salicylic lotions. Mild topical steroid or antifungals for the lesions on face and trunk, and short course of systemic steroids or antifungals, UVB therapy for recalcitrant. Gravitational eczema is another type of eczema which is mainly called as venous eczema or stasis dermatitis, seen in people who have venous stasis insufficiency, that is commonly occurs in person who are required to stand for long hours. Middle aspect of the door leg is. How do you manage? You have to manage the first venous insufficiency first, correct the varicose veins, leg elevation helps, adequate compression bandage or stockings are important, surgery if there is any very severe form of venous insufficiencies, antihistaminics and topical steroids can be used, and if there is infection, use. Principles in management of eczema, the most important thing that you should remember is identify the type of eczema that you are dealing with, assess the etiological factors, what is the triggering factor, then give the appropriate local treatment. Topicals we usually use in acute conditions when it is oozing, use Conte's solutions or normal saline, clear the crust, and then you can use calamine lotion. In subacute you can use zinc oxide paste or even steroid. Chronic cases you need to use moisturizers, and you can give chronic potent steroids, and phototherapy, emollients, sunscreens can be used. Immunomodulators such as tacrolimus and pimecrolimus are. Systemically we give antibiotics, antihistaminics, steroids, immunosuppressors. So this is the outline of management of dermatitis for you. Types of dermatitis, how do you classify and how do you approach and how do you manage. If there is any doubts in this class, you can please contact me through drsharichharith@gmail.com, and I will also be available in the Department of Dermatology, Shema. Thank you.